But to the best of my knowledge, the last channel that got permission was Republic TV. And that was maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I know that Raghav Behel wanted to set up a Bloomberg Quint channel. He made all his investments, built his studio, assuming that this was just a formality. No permission came. Plan was abandoned. Sometimes when there is a channel with pre-existing permission, which the government doesn't like, it tries to block or cancel or withdraw that license, as we saw in the case of Media One in Kerala, where no reasons were given. This bogey of national security was raised. Nothing was shared with the channel itself. No specific or great details were shared with the court either. And yet it took many months and the intervention of the Supreme Court finally before this great injustice and attack on media freedom was reversed. When it comes to the technology of today, which is digital, the primary methods of distribution of news is, of course, internet, but you do that through the use of different platforms, which are called social media intermediaries. So you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have YouTube. Google plays its role through search. So the government, in order to be able to put pressure, knows that it's not enough to terrorize or scare a reporter or an editor or a news platform. You have to also put pressure on the social media intermediaries. You have to make sure, and I'll give you details of how this control is exercised. But an integral part of the strategy of this government is to use the law, specifically the information technology rules, IT rules of 2021, to put pressure on not just news platforms, digital news platforms, but on the social media intermediaries. And the effects of that are evident before us. Sometimes it's not enough to scare Google or Twitter, because these are big companies, and even though their track record is not very good in terms of actually standing up for freedom of expression, and these are large companies that look after their profits, and if they sense that access to the Indian market will be compromised if we don't cooperate with Narendra Modi, then they will choose the path of cooperation with Modi. But they don't always do that. So the system goes to the next mile. If we have done a story, or there's a discussion on a certain topic which you're not able to prevent, you're not able to get Twitter to delete, you're not able to get YouTube to delete, what do? You then get your police to file cases against individual social media users. How many times have you read stories of a man in Uttar Pradesh arrested because he liked a post that somebody had put on Facebook, which was a caricature of Yogi Adityanath? Or how somebody in Gujarat got arrested because they said something critical or derogatory about the chief minister. You've all heard about the case of Jignesh Mevani from a few years ago. Jignesh Mevani, of course, is not an ordinary social media person. He is an MLA from Gujarat. But he put out a tweet 2 or perhaps 3 years ago, highly critical of Narendra Modi, where he described Narendra Modi as a follower of Nathuram Godse. Now, I don't know if this allegation of Modi being a follower of Godse is true or not. But if, let's assume that it's not correct, and let us assume that Mr. Modi feels that in the eyes of his followers, he has been defamed by this allegation, then Indian civil law gives him the remedy of filing a defamation case. In fact, Indian law gives him the remedy also of a criminal defamation case. But it's up to the person who is supposedly defamed to take action. He doesn't do that. He doesn't even issue a statement. Instead, you have the Assam police flying all the way across the country, landing in Gujarat, arresting Mr. Mewani, taking him back, and booking him under various serious offences because some BJP member in Assam, which is a BJP-ruled state, some BJP member in Assam filed a police complaint, frivolous police complaint, that Mewani's statement had hurt his feelings, that this is an inflammatory statement, that it is an insurrectionary statement. I don't know, I forget the precise charges that were filed against Jignesh. And he was held in custody for 2 or 3 days before finally a lower court granted him bail and allowed him to go back. Now, if this can happen to an MLA, simply for a tweet, you can imagine what fate can lie before ordinary people. And actually, the purpose of this kind of heavy-handedness is to choke off the public appetite to read, to share, to contribute to discussions online that are critical of the government.